Men and women hit the wall at a different stage in their lives. For men, it's usually in their late 30s. Women, it's usually around 30 or so. And yet men as well as women will also decrease in their level of attractiveness. I'm not as good looking as what I was when I was 20. I'm not as healthy. I'm not as fit. I've got less hair, you know, blah, 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 whatever. So I'm 44, but my financial situation's improved considerably. When I was 20, I didn't have a pot to piss in or a window to throw it out of. I think I was probably in college at the time, had recently moved back to Canada from England, and I was renting a room from one of my best friend's mother for about $50 a week, I think. Actually, sorry, I did have something to my name. I owned a motorcycle, which to me at the time, a sport bike was the shit. So that was my angle, I suppose, at the time for attracting women was, you know, your sexual marketplace value when you're younger, the optics, the looks are obviously higher than what they are today. But as time passes, looks decline, wealth increases. So as those lines intersect, of course, hypergamy is important for women. You know, we know about that. It's a word I use a lot on this channel, and you guys always slam me for my pronunciation. So you can slam it for hypergamy or hypergamy. It doesn't matter. You all know it's the same thing. Quit busting my chops. As you get older and your looks decline as a guy, your wealth should be increasing. If you want to have a place in the sexual marketplace dating and having access to attractive women, you should be spoiled for choice by the time you get to your 40s, to your early 40s, to your late 30s. As I mentioned in the wall video, men's sexual marketplace value peaks around 38-ish. You know, some people will say it's lower, some people will say it higher. If you're a feminist, you're going to say it's the same as what it is for women. So, you know, tomato, tomato, let's just agree to disagree there. But the point being is, as you age, your looks are, of course, going to decrease. You're going to lose some of your hair. You're going to get some gray in your beard. And, you know, for some women, that is still fairly attractive. They like a seasoned alpha. They like an older guy that's got a certain look to him. You know, but most women don't. You know, they prefer the optics of a younger guy, of course. So, wealth does help. Having money does help. I know, you know, some of you guys are going to be like, oh, you should just love me for who I am and blah, blah, blah. Well, that's not the way the world works. Okay, you can fight it, you can hate it, you can unplug from it and go live in a cabin in the woods. But the reality of the facts are being able to signal and demonstrate high marketplace value to the opposite sex if you want to attract it is significant. Now that brings me to the next thing when it comes to dating when you become more financially secure. Because one of the things you got to worry about, there is a really, really good posting that came out on Craigslist. This was about 10 years ago. Let's see. Oh, here it is. So it's September 2007. And this woman from New York posted, "What am I doing wrong? Okay, I'm tired of beating around the bush. I'm beautiful, spectacularly beautiful by her claim. 25-year-old. I'm articulate and classy. Not from New York. I'm looking to get married to a guy who makes at least $500,000 a year. Are there any guys who make at least $500K or more on this board? Any wives? Could you send me some tips? I wouldn't be searching for these kinds of guys if I wasn't able to match them in looks, culture, sophistication, and keeping a nice home and hearth." So she has a very high opinion of herself, let's say. That's a 25-year-old basically subscribing to her hypergamous nature, which is obviously looking to get a better deal and marry up. Again, why I always tell you guys on the channel and the videos is become the best version of yourself, become the prize. Do whatever it takes to be a high-value guy. Sitting out on the sidelines, checking out of the sexual marketplace and not competing, as Rollo said in one of our interviews in the last couple of weeks, I agree with him. You know, I get why guys go MGTOW, why they want to unplug. Sometimes they do it for a while and they re-enter the sexual marketplace, but I get it. You've just got to use it to your advantage. Working hard and being successful helps. The response from this guy is brilliant. What I'm going to do is I'm going to link in the description of this video so you can read the whole thing. But he basically cuts through her entire bullshit, you know, suggesting that her simple trade of looks versus, so he says, you bring your looks to the party and I bring my money. Fine, simple. But here's the rub. Your looks will fade and my money will likely grow into perpetuity. In fact, it is very likely that my income increases, but it is an absolute certainty that you won't be getting any more beautiful. Take a look at the entire response that he wrote there. I thought it was great. I think there's a lot of significance to that when you're talking about dating experiences as you become more financially secure, because that happens over time. You know, if you go to any dating site right now, if you're my age, you go to a dating site and you start logging in and swiping or matching or whatever, you're going to find that it's filled, it's rifle filled with, you know, wall smashed women that are 6s and 7s that think that they deserve 9s and 10s. It's just the reality of the sexual marketplace, in today's world. There was a study done, I think it was done on Tinder. I don't have it here. I should have searched for it before I hit the record button. But there was a study done, and they found that the spectrum of matches for guys basically was around 80%. So essentially, men found 80% of the women on dating sites attractive enough to reach out or want to date them. Setting aside that most of their pictures are old or they're just headshots and they're hiding out, parts of their lives that are, maybe not that flattering. Okay, let's put it that way. Whereas women, when they look at the guy's profile, they find less than 20% of the guys dateable on the site. So there's a big, void there, basically. Again, which is why I keep telling you guys, become the best version of yourself, deal with your shit, get your money right. Make sure you're not in debt. You want to send the right signals to the opposite sex if you want to be spoiled for choice when you become more financially secure. There's any number of ways to do that. You don't need to go out and buy a 6,000 square foot mansion. You really don't. They're absolutely unnecessary and onerous. My recommendation is, of course, send the right signals depending on the geographic region where you're located, the kind of job that you do or the business that you run, and where you're at in life. So I guess that should answer the first part of your question, is dating experiences you become more financially secure. What'll end up happening is women become less attractive, yet there's more of a void in, where their looks are versus where they think they are. It's pretty funny, when you read the comments in quite a few of my videos, and if you follow me on social, like on Instagram or on the Facebook page, you'll see that I share a lot of examples of this. Some of this stuff comes directly from you guys direct messaging me. So keep sending me that stuff because it helps develop the awareness and open guys' eyes to the reality of these facts. Second part of your question, and how to decipher fool's gold women from virtuous women. I've said this many, many times, and I don't think you should pay that much attention to what women say. In fact, pay almost no attention to it. Watch what their actions are. Pay attention to what they do. You can pay attention to what that looks like in the dating scope when you're spending time with them. You can, because we all have a footprint on social media. Watch what they're doing on Instagram and Facebook. If they're one of these Instagram hoes that are always posting pictures of themselves in flirtatious poses and seeking the attention of people, they're public pages usually, and they're seeking the attention of guys or girls, whatever their, modus operandi is. But if they're seeking the attention of a number of people to validate who they are, you want to avoid people like that. I've made videos for you guys on this channel on, I believe, the types of women that you want to avoid dating. I'll put a card up in the top right if I can find those right now. There's also on Patreon deeper videos that I'm creating for my supporters. They're about 45 minutes long in length, and I go into great depth on number of subjects that mostly has to do with women, because that's what you guys are demanding, and experiences around that and how to navigate and filter and, basically filter out the riffraff. But to sum that part up, the second half, because I don't want to make this too long of a video, I'm already about 10 minutes long. Some of the second half is watch what they do, listen to less of what they say. If their behavior is going to reflect nightmare scenarios, so high drama, low virtue, you want the opposite. You want high virtuous women and low drama women. One of the books that I've recommended many times, which is linked in the description below, is The Tactical Guide to Women. And it's a guide by Sean Smith, who's a clinical psychologist who's practiced for about 20 years, was in relationship. And he talks about how to filter through the riffraff, how to spot low virtue women, high drama, from the high virtue, low drama women.
All right, guys, I really hope that you enjoyed that clip. If you want to check out the full length podcast episode, you can find that right over here. Also, make sure you visit my website over here where you'll find my supplements, the opportunity to book me privately one-on-one for coaching, and most importantly, my new School of Unplugging, which you'll find on the courses tab. Newer to the channel, hit subscribe.